First of all, thank you for your time. We are talking a lot about the aviation and the threat, and I can say that we saw many threats on the civil aviation. So we see more connectivity, more interconnection, more threats coming. So give me your strategy, high-level design of the biggest threat and the biggest risk of the aviation sector.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I'm honored to be here. And once Franco said a real special, twice real, it's become a real guest. Usually I'm speaking about the kinetic capabilities, and now you're taking me to the cyber, and thank you for that. As an Air Force commander, you know, you got some nightmares. It's very difficult to sleep at night, more than one, but no doubt that the cyber attack over the Air Force, it's a nightmare. And I think that it should be the same for the civil aviation. Because in the last 20 years, the air forces around the world become more and more connected. And the net become a key actor, or key factor to, and by the net, the air power can achieve more targets per day, become more efficient, and detect all the targets. And I think that the civil aviation, it's almost the same. So I might describe the civil aviation by 3 layers. First of all is the airspace. That's the first layer. The second layer is the platforms. And the third layer is the airports and all the ground activities, the passengers, the maintainers, the fuel, the luggage. Everything is part of the net, the ground net. So each of those layers can be attacked. I think that the companies, Boeing, Airbus, and others that manufacture the platforms, they are securing the core system, like the flight control system. And they secure the navigation system, some of them. But I'm not sure the other layers, the airspace and how to manage the airspace and the ground control, they are on the same level of security. I'm sure that each of you got the application. You can see how big is the traffic around the globe, the aerial traffic. And let's imagine that someone do something and you got no, you cannot control the traffic above the Middle East, above Europe, or above United States. Let's imagine that someone get into the navigation system or the instrument landing system. And by that, it's very hard to land in each of the global airport. So we should look at the answer to your question is that there is no silver bullet. There is layers of technology and systems and, let's say, the aviation, the aerial, the platform, and the ground control. Each of them, we need to defend them.
You know, there are many sectors with different threats. For an example, when you are talking about, we are speaking about finance, we are talking about trust. When we are talking about aviation, we are saying safety first, okay? And you mentioned 3 dimensions. And when I'm looking about airport, the airport himself, we will speak about the flights and others, but give me some scenarios or two scenarios that bother you that affect international airport and affect the safety?
Well, at the airport, you can do information operation, right? All the screens in 1 minute can present some different pictures. We had such an scenario in our bus stations in Israel, that the electricity signs present pictures of Hamas. So in a minute, all the screens at the airports might present a picture of a bomb. Okay? Who is going to fly later on? Today, I don't know why, the luggage system in Ben Gurion stuck. So I don't know why. Maybe it's an electricity issue or a hydraulic problem. I don't know why. But you can stop all the luggage systems in international airport. It's a crazy scenario. So with a very minimal, let's say, negative activities, you can have a very wide and large influence.
To be honest, one of our TTX this year, it was one of our, let's say, aviation clients. We demonstrate what you meant. Who want to fly when on the screen there is someone saying there is a bomb on the flight? So even it's a fake, it's still a threat.
And in the past, when my daughters flew aboard, I always brief them. You should always check your passport and your iPhone. Because with passport and iPhone, you can be anywhere, you can pay, you can do anything. Now you get into the airport. Your boarding card is in your phone, okay? You're connecting to the airport Wi-Fi in a minute. Then you connect to you get into the airplane, you connect into the media system. So everything is connected, and the threats are all around.
By the way, in Israel, the airport in Israel, there is the BMS, not the BMS, sorry, HBS, handling baggage system. Okay, so the handling baggage system, I don't know if you know, but it's a critical system in Israel. Okay, why? Because the same situation that you mentioned. So I want to continue with the supply chain risk. Okay, everybody know that you can defend yourselves, but you have so many suppliers. And we hear also in our last session that we need to see the supplier as an internal risk. I think the aviation is more than thousands of suppliers. How we can even calculate the risk? What is the big threat? Who is the most crucial suppliers that we need to focus on, or what are the domains?
Yeah. So to look for the most dangerous supply, from my perspective, is not the best question, because there will be always the second one. So we need to look at those threats in a different perspective. Maybe what we did in the Air Force, because it's the same, we got thousands of suppliers, we build a system of regulation and the standard. So if you would like to connect to the Air Force, you need to be on the Air Force standard. Okay, so supplier for the airport, it's also the McDonald's and all those aroma and all the food that you provide to the airport. It's part of the supplier. But let's focus on the main actors. You should build a standard and a regulation, and if someone is not on your standard, you cannot get him in.
But I want to take it to tough questions. There are some suppliers, unfortunately, they are full connectivity, and even they are not meet your standard, you cannot kick them out. I think this is a problem. For an example, yesterday I talked with a friend about his payment system. So without payment, it cannot work. So how you can deal with a real crucial suppliers, or there are some suppliers that you cannot replace. It's not easy to replace. You are fully depends on them to do your job. And I'm talking not just from civil aviation. I'm talking about nation states that want to attack our systems.
So I will answer you by describing what we did at the F-35 fleet, because the F-35 is international logistic, let's say, fleet. And we, as Israelis, we're supposed to base on other nation capabilities, and so we should provide all the data. Once the airplane landed, he is connected to the international net and provide all the data from the last flight. This is, for the Israeli Air Force, it's unacceptable. So we, first of all, we built our own independent logistic and maintenance capabilities. Okay, wow. But this is not a question. The question is, we built technological, we would develop technological gates, and we control what kind of data move out from the airplane and from the Air Force and from the base into our suppliers. And by that, we can monitor the data and we can defend ourselves.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. My next question is we talk about trust and business continuity, okay? We see a lot of impact on cyber aviation. For an example, you just saw a drone above one of the airports, and the airport decide to shut down all the airports. We saw it many times in Europe. So what is the bigger concern, a real hit to safety damage or to the public trust? I want to speak about the public trust is more important than the technology.
Yeah. So once you are driving a bus or a train or even a ship and there is a cyber issue, you are still on ground. You are still, so ships are not falling from the skies, also trains. Airplanes, unfortunately, they are. So the worst case scenario is something might happen to the platforms, but I think that the platforms are quite, let's say, at the right standard, and it's might be very hard to, let's say, to intercept a civilian platform by cyber. Unfortunately, the last 3 years, 2 civilian platforms intercepted by air defense system by mistake. So you can change the airspace screens, and by that, the platform might be hostile, and then you can intercept it. So there are many scenarios, but put the platform aside, I think that the trust, once people cannot be part of the system and the flow of the airplanes, the schedule, the luggage, everything is stuck, and people are not willing to be part of this domain, and because of the risk, the damage for the global and national economic is amazing. The potential is very high.
Before I will go to my next questions. I don't know if you know, when we prepared to this session, I had a 1-minute delay with Ms. Norkin. It was not a delay. I thought it's a WhatsApp call, and Mr. Norkin was on a Teams. So he told me, Franco, it's 1-minute delay, and we are never not delayed. So I took these lessons maybe to be more sharp, and I think I'm one of the sharpest. But what the civilian aviation can learn from the Air Force, what the civilian aviation can learn, what we can adopt from the military to the civilian aviation?
First of all, I think that the Air Force can learn a lot from the civilian aviation.
For sure.
Okay, I don't want to be arrogant. I think that there are many areas, more than one, that the military's Air Force can learn from the civilian companies and civilian aviation. For example, how to fly in the weather. We are not so good on weather conditions, and the civilian pilots and companies, they are much better. So there are many areas to learn from, but at the Air Force, I think that there is no, and already been described in the previous panel, there is no margin for error. There is no margin for error, because if you are flying at the wrong speed, you can crash. If you are too low, too heavy, the wrong bomb, the wrong fuse, the wrong angle, you drop your bomb at the wrong position, you can kill hundreds of people by mistake. So you should be very precise, on time, weight, speed, altitude, and all the other details. I think that this is part of the culture of aviation, military aviation and civil aviation. And by that, I think that it should be easier to have a standard for the cyber or the aviation domain, much easier than other domains.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I want to talk about readiness. A lot of people talking about readiness, but you talk about standard. I want to speak about measure. And the civil aviation, or maybe in the Air Force, how you are measure your readiness. Try to give us some tips, because everybody can say, I'm ready. Yesterday, I spoke with my friend, with Dr. Pelo. He said, each of us can be a different perspective about what is readiness. Okay, so we are here to learn.
Well, I think that readiness is one of the top three. And if you are not doing any exercise, you are not ready. Period. So you need to practice more than once, and to practice scenarios. Chaos. You need to practice. If you are not practicing, and the whole organization, the whole system, the people, they are not building their knowledge, they are not building their know-how, how to deal with such cyber attack or whatever, there is no readiness. So for us, at the Air Force, we are practicing a lot. We all speak about the 12 days war in Iran. We prepare this campaign 15 years.
Wow.
And we practice, and we practice, and we improve ourselves. And now they do much better than in my times, okay? So if your organization, if your company would like to be ready, you should practice.
I agree with you. I agree with you. By the way, is not a sales pitch, but in our platform, we put a lot of efforts about small changes, small practices, practice and practice, and improve yourself, okay? For us, for Kios, and for others. Last questions for today. Maybe it's a geopolitical question. There is a really tension between powers. There are sanctions. There is wars between countries. What extent does the civil aviation become a legitimate target? So do you see, or do you think that the civilian aviation become more and more legit target in the hybrid warfare?
Well, I'm not sure just to, let's say, to kill 400 people at the airplane is legit.
For sure
Won't be legit. I hope so. But to disturb the other aviation systems, I think it's already there. Okay? So let's take an example, a positive example. After Abraham Accords, the amount of flights that they are flying above Israel from the Gulf to Europe climbed by 100%. And this is part of our responsibility, because in Israel, by law, the Air Force is in charge for the airspace. The civilian controllers in Israel, they are sitting inside the Air Force units, because we don't want to have any 9/11 event. We are a very small nation, very small airspace. So now if someone change the routes and give you wrong orders, some of those flights might be or might become a hostile. And instead of flying in the corridor, it might fly above the nuclear reactor in Dimona. So I'm not sure that to intercept a civil airplane, this is the working point, okay, or the reference. The reference should be the Tier 2 systems that by affect them, you can have a national effect.
I agree.
Thank you, Franco.
So, thank you, Mr. Norkin. It was a fascinating. Thank you, sir.